This is Chloe James from That Nerd Show, and we're here at the Dallas International Film Festival in 2018. We have Nick Nanton here for what is it?
Operation
Toussaint. All right. So tell us, is it a feature-length film or a short film?
It's a feature-length film. It's I believe 82 minutes at the last cut. A friend of mine told me you never finish them; they just take them away from you eventually. So I think it's 82 minutes.
All right, so can you tell us actually a little bit about your film? What's it about?
Yeah, it's about an organization called Operation Underground Railroad that travels the world and executes raids to save kids from sex trafficking. And so the film is really centered on the organization, what they do, but in the midst of me making the film, there was an operation that needed to be executed in Haiti. And so we filmed the operation and a rescue in Haiti and a raid of a sex trafficking ring with organized crime in Haiti.
All right, so is this all 100% like real life documentary? Wow.
All 100% real footage. Actually, the hardest thing is we had to put a disclaimer at the beginning of the film that all of this footage is real footage, because a lot of it looks like there's no way you could get this footage undercover. And so, for instance, one of the guys, before I got involved, they had filmed an operation years ago, the first operation they ever undertook, where they had to buy 2 children from a quote-unquote orphanage so they could prove that it was not really an orphanage. And one of the guys with him just said he was a photography buff, and he left a camera hanging around his neck and left it filming the whole time. And so the footage is unbelievable, but it's literally an underground operation of these guys rescuing kids, but it looks like a feature film.
Oh my gosh, wow. So this is actually a topic that's pretty close to my heart. Like I would do anything to actually put an end to sex trafficking, especially with children. Do you find the people behind this are the closest to real life superheroes out there?
Yeah, Tim Ballard, the founder, we sort of call him the real life Captain America. I mean, he's a guy who, blonde hair, blue eyes, just stacked, and he left his job with the government, CIA, Homeland Security, left all of his pension, left his badge, left his gun to go rescue kids around the world, because he knew when he was working with Homeland Security, he knew where a bunch of rings of trafficking were, but he couldn't find a way to connect them and find a nexus between the U.S., so he couldn't save the kids. So he actually went to a personality who certainly is a polarizing personality, but a great person, Glenn Beck. Went to Glenn Beck and said, hey, Glenn, I need help doing this. And so Glenn raised his first $1 million to help him save kids around the world. And Glenn now raises a ton of money every year for him. And, they're just, the goal, politics aside, is just to save kids around the world. They believe it's a global community that we can't just, people don't really realize that sex trafficking is happening in every city in America. We had to execute the mission in Haiti because they won't let us film much in America. I sort of regret that. It feels a bit like a foreign film. We try to pull it back into America as much as we can, but with liabilities and insurance and suing in America, it's tough. But they left the security of everything they knew to go out and save kids around the world, and they've now rescued just over their 1,000th kid in 15 countries, and they will only execute operations in countries where there's aftercare set up. Because the problem, if there's not aftercare set up, the psychological abuse that happens to put a victim into sex trafficking is the worst part of it. And so they actually don't understand their victim actually a lot of times. And so without the aftercare ready to help them get to the next phase of life, it's just something they've chosen not to do because it just ends up being a bad cycle.
I'm curious about something. Every filmmaker goes on a journey. This must have been a very emotional journey for you in doing this. How did you get through it?
It's an extremely emotional journey. For me, I try to just keep centered on the fact that these guys who I was with do this every day. Former Navy SEALs, CIA, Homeland Security, and they're amazing people at what they do. And so I really just, I've got 3 kids of my own, so I think I processed it all as I was going, but I knew I had a job to do. And but when I saw the first cut of the film, I broke down like a baby, because it's just like, oh wow, we just did that. And it was very surreal. And but I tried not to focus on myself too much, and the fact that these people do this. Like, I was in Haiti in the middle of the night and right off Port-au-Prince. Like, it's one of the most dangerous countries in the world. And these guys, they do this every week, every single week. And so I just try not to think about myself and just say.
Yeah, I was going to ask, I'm sure those guys get through it all the time, but were you yourself in any actual danger?
Oh, we had to wear bulletproof vests and the whole deal in the streets. And we had a really accomplished operational unit. Like I said, ex-Navy SEALs and medics and everything. And, we had our biggest concern was we had to pay off law enforcement to find out where the people we needed to arrest were, but they're involved in organized crime, so we were worried that they had paid more, and so that was the biggest concern. But we had a great team running perimeter and running security and lots of guns and all the other things you need in an organization like that. But yeah, it's the first time I've ever had to put on a bulletproof vest in a shoot. So.
That's an experience.
We have a very nerdy question for you that Chloe's going to ask.
All right, yes. Since we're that nerd show, we always have to round it up with a really nerdy question. So this year we're wondering if you could have any superpower or super weapon from the nerd universe, to fight the forces of evil, what would it be?
Wow, I would have a weapon for good. I would just make everybody good, because there's more evil than I like to see, but there's a lot of good people in the world.
All right, so you would basically have the weapon of heart, like the in Captain Planet, like the kid that has a heart ring. Like, I'm going to count it as that. Yeah, the heart ring. Like, oh, hey, be good now. I'm sure after everything you've seen, that you probably want that more than anything else. Just stop the violence and the evil. All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a great night. Look forward to seeing your film.